Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to a brand new episode of Spoilers, Recap, and Results. I am your friend and host, PCJ, the Pop Culture Junkie, aka the Pro Wrestling Junkie. Tonight we're going to be talking about the results for the WWE Stomping Ground pay-per-view, which just went off the air minutes ago. It is, as I record this, 9:32. That's right, usually these pay-per-views end around 10 o'clock my time, maybe even a little longer, but you could tell they were just blowing through this show. I kept looking at the clock after each match and was surprised at what time it was. These matches were going like back to back. We had very little backstage segments in between the matches, and it just seemed like as soon as one match ended and the person who won or lost is out of the way, bam, another person's coming out for their next match. It just seemed really fast as far as how much turnover. Usually we get long video packages in between every single match. We had a few of them, but not every match had that. And again, that's just where I think they did a really bad job of building up this show. There was not a lot of great build-up for the matches, and unfortunately, the majority of this pay-per-view we've seen already. Whether you watch Raw, Smackdown, or every pay-per-view, you've seen most of the matches that took place tonight. We had a rematch from WrestleMania with Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns. We had a rematch from Super Showdown of Baron Corbin versus Seth Rollins. We had rematches that we've seen before in the past, such as Bayley versus Alexa Bliss, and so forth. So there was a lot of repeat. Did the show managed to entertain us? Yeah, I will say they did do that. The show was not terrible. The matches were decent. There were some good matches in here. It just seemed very lackluster because, again, they just seem to stick with what they think works, and it doesn't. And we want fresh matchups. We want fresh feuds and rivalries. And just when we think they're going to give that to us, they pull a twist on us, and we get same stuff we've seen already. Who remembers, again, I've repeated this before on both the recap and the prediction videos, when Triple H, Vince, Shane, and Stephanie came out at the end of last year saying, "We hear you and you are now the authority." Really? Because I still see the same stuff every week. Same old, and we're not, it's not working, and you're just misleading us to think we're actually going to get to see any kind of change or difference in your product. I will say this. The show was entertaining. I enjoyed some of the matches. We're going to go through the entire card, and we'll talk about everything from there. So starting off, of course, we have our kickoff show. The panel included Coach, Charlie Caruso, Booker T, and David Otunga. They all share their thoughts and opinions on different matches that are going to be happening later. We get Booker T and Caruso doing a little interview segment inside the steel cage. That was nice. Now, as they're doing this, you can see how the camera work is already zoomed in closely around key areas of the ring. And anytime they go to a large view of the arena, they are only showing the side of the arena that is opposite of the hard camera. That's the only area you see in the crowd. And then you see sporadically close-ups of people in that side of the arena as well. They made sure not to pan anywhere over to the side that the hard camera is positioned at, because from what I saw on social media, primarily that entire side of the arena was tarped off because they had very, very low ticket sales. Now, during the kickoff panel, we also had Big E and Xavier Woods join in to discuss Kofi Kingston defending the WWE title in the steel cage against Dolph Ziggler later. Big E, of course, he's been clowning around ever since they've done all the different backstage segments with him, like eating different foods and such. He was just sitting at the panel desk with his feet up on the desk, spread eagle basically, and he's just chugging bottles of water one after the other. That was kind of funny. Also during the kickoff, we had Samoa Joe and Ricochet do a FaceTime promo. They weren't face-to-face in the ring or face-to-face backstage. They were on two different screens, and they just did a promo back and forth. But during the kickoff, we get our first matchup. That's the WWE Cruiserweight title match. It is a triple threat match. Tony Nese defending the title against Akira Tozawa and Drew Gulak, of course. Drew Gulak hits a torture rack neckbreaker to Tozawa to win the title. Yes, Gulak is your new Cruiserweight champion. He did not pin the champ, though, so we know there's going to be some rematches against Nese, who, he never got pinned, never got submitted, so he's got a way out of getting some title match rematches, even though there are no guaranteed title rematches anymore, that is. We get to the main show. We, of course, get the opening video package like all pay-per-views have. Now, I remember back in the day, we'd get, metal bands, rock bands, really kind of cool music sometimes. You get all kinds of things, whether it's Saliva or Drowning Pool, whatnot. You get something like that. What do we get? We get the classic, "These boots were made for walking." as our theme song intro. Now it does change into a different beat and different song, but that's the way this the video package begins. But we'll get a video package just showing highlights of all the matches that are going to be taking place tonight. Now the show opens with shots of one side of the arena again, lots of close-ups, so we really don't see a whole lot of the full arena because again the arena did not sell out. Our opening matchup, though, is Raw Women's title match. Becky Lynch defending the title against Lacey Evans. Lacey came out in a very red outfit. Made me think she really was going to win the Raw title. So Becky and Lacey, they have a bit of a back-and-forth matchup, of course. It never seemed like it really got a lot of momentum going. At one point, Becky had Lacey in a cross armbar, and Michael Cole continued to say, "Oh, she's got the disarmer in her. She's got the disarmer in her." And it's like, no, she's got a cross armbar on her, dude. Learn your wrestling moves. Lacey goes up to the top turnbuckle, but Becky pulls her off of there. She falls flat on her face. Becky then applies the real disarmer, and Lacey taps out immediately. Becky retains the title. Backstage, Kayla Braxton catches Paul Heyman coming out of Baron Corbin's office. Kayla asks if Paul will be the special ref for Corbin's Universal title match. Heyman says, well, you should really be asking, is Kofi here? Is Seth Rollins here? Those two are the champions. Then you should be wondering if my client is here. So again, they're teasing us with the possibility of Brock Lesnar cashing in on one of the two champions tonight. And yeah, so we're going to have to wait and see if Brock Lesnar is here and decides, hey, you know what? Kofi Kingston's in a steel cage match. Surely he's going to be weakened enough for me to, get a pinfall on him. Or I could be the special ref and, cost Seth Rollins the title, or I could interfere or do something. And, Brock's really got an easy shot at getting either title tonight. But, of course, we don't know what's going to happen. We got to watch the show, so we got to wait and see if Brock Lesnar's going to show up later. We go back to the ring, and it is Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus Big E and Xavier Woods. Kevin Owens hits a stunner on Xavier Woods for the pinfall. Not a bad match, not the greatest match. Finally, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens pick up a win, though, and I was relieved to see that. We go straight into the U.S. title matchup, Samoa Joe versus Ricochet. Very good match. Horrible commentary, though. Ricochet hits the 630 to pin and win the United States title match. That's right. Ricochet is the new United States champion. Very good match. Again, horrible commentary. Wish we could just get Michael Cole to shut up. After Ricochet gets the title win, he celebrates going up the ramp. He then goes backstage. We see him walk into the gorilla position, and he's greeted by Seth Rollins, Zack Ryder, Kurt Hawkins, Charlotte, Heavy Machinery, and Carmella. They're all applauding for him. And then all of a sudden we see Triple H walk into the camera view, gives a firm handshake to Ricochet to congratulate, and then walks off. Interesting, kind of odd. I mean, we don't really see something like that happen very often. We see that kind of with NXT. But I know, of course, Triple H is happy because one of his NXT guys won a title, but we didn't see Triple H do that with Bobby Roode. We didn't see him do that with Shinsuke Nakamura. So I don't know where they're going here with this. So very peculiar, though. The only time we saw Charlotte was at that moment, and she had sent something on Twitter saying, I can't wait to be at Stomping Ground. She didn't even have a match. But yeah, unfortunately, we see the former tag team champions, Hawkins and Ryder, and that's the only time we see them as well. Now, from this, again, as soon as Ricochet walks away with the title, Heavy Machinery just walks through the curtain, and here we go. We're going to the match 4. So like I said, matches were happening back-to-back very fast. I didn't understand this at first. Why did we need so much hurry between the matches to where we needed a lot more time for later on, maybe? I don't know. There were some matches that were going to take longer. Who knows? So our next matchup is the Smackdown Tag Team title match, Heavy Machinery versus Daniel Bryan and Rowan. Daniel Bryan gets a small package on Tucker for the win. Not a whole lot more happened in the match. Next up, we have a small video package for the feud between Bayley and Alexa, along with Nikki Cross. And our next matchup is the SmackDown Women's title match, Bayley versus Alexa, with Nikki Cross in her corner. Bayley hits a sunset flip on Alexa into the turnbuckle. Alexa rolls to the outside to be helped out by Nikki Cross. Bayley goes for a flying body press, but ends up hitting Nikki Cross instead of Alexa. Bayley then goes to hit Alexa, but she runs into the steel steps. Alexa hits a sunset bomb on Bayley outside the ring, rolls Bayley back into the ring, and as Alexa is climbing the turnbuckle, Cross comes in to try to get back at Bayley, which causes a delay and a distraction by the referee. Alexa goes for Twisted Bliss, but lands on Bayley's knees. Bayley then hits the Bayley to Belly for the win and retains the SmackDown title. Backstage, Ricochet is posing for photos, and the Good Brothers and AJ Styles interrupt. They all pose for some photos with him, and they throw up the too sweet hand sign. AJ then says congrats, and hey, I'll see you tomorrow. So, guessing he's going to try to challenge for the U.S. title on Raw tomorrow. Okay, our next matchup is Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns. Again, we get another video package to show us the whole feud here, along with what's had to do with Shane McMahon and so forth. Drew comes out first along with Shane McMahon, followed by Roman Reigns, who gets a good mix of cheers and boos. That's right, folks, the boos are coming back. People are realizing it is okay to boo Roman Reigns. You don't have to just cheer him because of what happened to him and what, everything last year. You can boo the character. It's not the person. So Roman and Drew, they begin fighting in the aisle before the bell rings. Once the match starts, Roman clotheslines Drew to the outside. He does a running suicide dive onto Drew. Very good, but man, he almost cleared over Drew and missed him entirely. Roman then starts chasing Shane McMahon over the barricade into the audience. He chases him all across the whole hard camera view through the crowd. Just as he's coming back around to the other side to jump the barricade, Drew connects with a right, knocking down Roman. There's lots of distraction and interference from Shane throughout the match. Roman then hits a spear out of nowhere. Shane pulls the ref out during the count before he can get a 3 count. Then Shane sets up Roman Reigns in the corner. He hits a coast-to-coast on Roman. Drew goes for the pin, and Shane tosses the referee back in. 1, 2, we get a kick out. Drew then goes for a Claymore kick, but Roman hits a Superman punch. Shane again comes into the ring trying to interfere, but Roman ends up tossing him over the top rope. Drew goes for a clothesline, but Roman ducks, hits a second spear, pin, and the win. Very predictable outcome. All right, our next matchup is the WWE title steel cage match, Dolph Ziggler versus Kofi Kingston. This match went on for way too long. It would not finish. It would not end. I love steel cage matches. Steel cage matches, the whole point of a cage match used to be two guys that are in a blood feud that need to settle it. There has to be a winner. They've had numerous matches that have ended in countouts or disqualifications, or their people that are in their stable have interfered too many times to where there's never been an outcome. You've got to have a winner. So you finally put them inside of a cage. That's the meaning of a cage match. This had no purpose to a cage match. The only reason they made it a cage match was a week and a half ago at Super Showdown, Xavier Woods interfered in the match during the title match of Ziggler versus Kofi, and that cost Ziggler the chance to win the title. So because of that, Ziggler, the heel, demands a steel cage match. It made no sense. So finally in the end, Dolph is crawling to the steel cage door trying to get out. He's halfway out. He's got his hands on the floor. He's almost out of the ring, and Kofi runs and dives through the top and middle rope, falling flat on his face outside the ring. And that's how he wins, because he's the first one out of the cage. So that's how Kofi Kingston wins the match, is he just jumps out of the ring. We then go backstage, and Kayla is trying to catch up with Drew McIntyre and Shane McMahon and talk to them about the outcome of the matchup that Drew just had. Shane says on Raw, Roman will face Shane and Drew in a 2-on-1 handicap match. We go right to the crowd after that, and there is zero reaction to that announcement. Here we are, main event, the last match of the night. Universal title match, Seth Rollins defending against Baron Corbin with a special guest referee that is still yet to be announced. Corbin comes out first, then Rollins comes out carrying a steel chair still. Corbin is about to announce who the ref is, but Seth scares him away. He drops the mic. Rollins gets on the mic, tells him to just, cut out the crap and get on with it. Corbin gets back on the mic and says, fine, my special referee is Lacey Evans. So Lacey Evans comes out. Lacey and Rollins have a stare down as Corbin attacks Rollins from behind. Corbin attacks Rollins with the steel chair. Lacey then comes up to Corbin and says, hey, you have to give me the chair. Corbin then goes outside the ring to get Rollins. He throws him back in the ring. Once they're both in the ring, then Lacey calls for the bell to start the match officially. So throughout the match, of course, Lacey Evans is ignoring all things that Corbin does. She's not counting a 3 count whenever Rollins has a chance to win. She's doing fast counts whenever Corbin goes for pinfalls. When the two are brawling outside the ring, she does no count outs at all, so she's not even trying to count out. And at this point, we hear lots of AEW chants along with CM Punk chants. Rollins finally gets some momentum and does go for a pin, but Lacey goes for a very slow count. Rollins then powerbombs Corbin through the announce table. Lacey does a very slow count out, and during this, she walks over and just tells the ring announcer, hey, this match is now a no count out match. Corbin doesn't tell her this. Nobody tells her this. She just walks over and tells him, hey, announce that this is now going to be a no count-out match. And so, yeah, it's a no count-out match. And the announcer says that. So, yeah, okay. So the match continues. Rollins hits a frog splash, and we get a 2 count by Lacey, but Lacey pretends like her shoulder is hurting. Corbin then comes in and attacks Rollins with the chair repeatedly. He then whispers to Lacey, and she goes over to the announcer again and says, hey, this match is now under no disqualification rules. So the announcer says, this match is a no DQ match. Okay, so after this announcement, Seth Rollins and Lacey Evans have another stare down. Lacey slaps Rollins across the face 2 times. He then turns around to face Corbin, but as he does that, Lacey goes from behind and low blows Seth Rollins. Corbin then hits the end of days on Seth Rollins. And just at this moment, that's when Becky Lynch finally makes an appearance, comes out, attacks Lacey, beats her up, tosses her outside the ring, does a Bex Exploder suplex into the ringside barricade. Then we have a few referees come out to try to separate everything from happening, including referee John Cone, who Baron Corbin pulls into the ring saying, hey, you come in, you take the place of the ref. So Corbin then attempts another end of days, but Rollins reverses it, hits a curb stomp, pinfall, 1, 2, 3, and the match is over. Rollins is still the Universal Champion. Becky and Rollins go into the ring. They both hold up each other's hands. They celebrate. They hug. They go outside the ring apron, sit on the edge of the ring, just kind of put their arms around each other and just take in the moment. Then they take a little stroll up the ramp holding hands. They salute, wave and everything to the crowd, all that stuff. And the match is done. The crowd is okay, and the show goes off the air. And we don't see any signs of Heyman or Lesnar or anyone else. Nothing else happens. That's it. That's the show, and that's a wrap. So, yeah, this was a very close of the night. We had some good matches. I really enjoyed Samoa Joe versus Ricochet. Bryan and Rowan against Heavy Machinery was entertaining. And I really liked getting to see Becky Lynch get a retaining win here. I was surprised. I actually thought they were going to have Lacey Evans get the win here, but glad to see they're going to have Becky Lynch at least hold on to one title for a little while. She lost the Smackdown title only one pay-per-view later, so that was a surprise that they didn't have her drop the belt today, considering I thought they were going to have her drop both belts at Money in the Bank. But overall, what would I grade this pay-per-view? I mean, it was okay. It wasn't great. I mean, it really reminded me a lot of things we see on Raw and SmackDown. And again, it was a lot of matches that we've seen already. So, except for the Samoa Joe Ricochet match, I could have gone without seeing most of this stuff because I've already seen it. And I don't know what they're thinking is going to, draw people in from seeing the same stuff over and over and over. It just doesn't work. By the way, in 3 weeks, we have Extreme Rules. That's right, 3 weeks. It's quit making so many pay-per-views so freaking stuck together. We just had Mania, Money in the Bank, Super Showdown, and then tonight's Stomping Ground. And I feel like WrestleMania was last weekend. It's just crazy how many pay-per-views you guys are putting out, and they're not any good. They're subpar at that. It's frustrating. We know it can be better. All right, so that was the full recap, full show. What did you think? Let me know. Share with your comments below what you thought of the actual show. If you saw the pay-per-view, was it worth the time or anything to watch it? Obviously, it's worth $10 if you have the network. I would have been furious if I had bought this on pay-per-view like 15 years ago for $40, $50, whatever they were. I would have been really mad if that's the show I got, because this was not a great show. This was just a fun Monday Night Raw with a little bit of flair to it because we had title matches, more title matches than normal. So really, I don't understand why they think anybody's going to spend more than $10, because obviously that's all they're putting it out worth is $10 worth. All right, guys, gals, thanks so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the recap and results, and I hope you'll tune in again for another predictions and recap and results video with me as well. Well, everyone, have a great night. I'm going to wrap this up. Cutting it short tonight, but wow, we're wrapping up the video and it's not even 10 o'clock. It's amazing. All right, everybody, enjoy your evening, and I'll talk to you later. This is PCJ, the Pop Culture Junkie, signing out.